Hey guys, how's everyone doing out there? Now, I am doing this live video on some deshed tricks, okay? Now I'm referring to after you've got them all dry, you've already done most of your deshed in the tub, and you're just doing that final brush out. Have you ever found that sometimes they have these little fuzzies that just stick out that are really light colored, and I will take this off and see if I can bring it closer for you guys to see. Now bear with me, okay, because everything's on the other side. Can you see these really soft fine hairs? Sorry, you can see these really soft fine hairs. I can literally like pull them out. Okay, these are what we're going for, and sometimes they're really hard to get because they actually are still anchored in there. So what I'm about to show you is a tip that I learned actually from some cocker people at a dog show. I was sitting next door next to them, and they were carting their cockers out, and I was just like, what are you using? Because all I saw was a comb, and I just saw tons and tons of hair coming off of them, and I didn't quite understand what it was. So me being the person I am, I'm nosy. I go over there and ask them, going, can you show me how you're doing that? And it's as simple as a rubber band, okay? This is the exact same size. If any of you know that I make my hair wraps for the poodles, this is the exact same rubber band that I would actually send with the wraps. If you're interested in those, you can contact me later about that. But this is what it is, because sometimes I find a coat king, even as small and narrow as it is, a furminator or some sort, just doesn't cut it sometimes, because I can see that pulls out some, but not much. But the thing is with these tools is you can actually keep going over their coat over and over again because you want to get it all, and you scratch their skin, you damage their coat. Like the Coat King, you can cut it up. With these, you can cut it up. And then there's these carding tools, these carding knives. I have like every little tool, trick, thing that I can possibly try to make grooming easier for myself. I do find these are really nice for smaller dogs or detailing work, because basically it's a furminator on a stick, really little though. So it's meant to get a more detailed look in certain areas. But this does a great big part of the dog. And I don't think I can actually move my thing over. We'll see. Now I've already done quite a bit of her over here. Now the key to doing any kind of deshed or type tool, you want to pull the skin taut. So you always want to keep the skin tight. Her biggest areas are right here on her shoulders that I can never get done in the tub. I can never get them out in the thing, and I find that's mostly on dogs that have been shaved. And she's been shaved, not by me. I've been doing it for the last 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. And so I've called this a rehabilitated coat. So it is a lot of work. She comes in once a month, and she pants like this all the time. As you see, I don't have a leash or anything on her because she doesn't really go anywhere. But if you were to do this, and can you guys all see the amount of hair, the chunks of hair that I'm getting off? That's what a rubber band can do for you. It gets those really fine hairs and not the guard hairs. So you can, and as you can see, that's already darker than what this is. And so the darker the coat, the less undercoat it has. So that when it's really slick and shiny, that's the area that doesn't have much undercoat. When it's kind of a dull, dingy color like over here, this tends to have quite a bit of undercoat. But you got to remember, you can't take it all out. Dogs are always going to shed, they're always going to. But you can make it look a little bit more nicer. And see, we got hair that sticks up. That's another thing. When we're grooming any kind of dog for show, or I'm grooming a dog for show, any hair that is sticking up and sticking out needs to go, but we can't cut it off, because you're going to have it's still going to be a problem. It needs to kind of come out from the roots. And so you can kind of go over this with, and so my teeth aren't really hitting the coat. They go in, but then I kind of roll that comb a little bit so that the teeth come up off the body, and it's the rubber band that are getting it, and I can get a lot more finer hair with less strokes. Because I'll tell you what, in my old age and doing this for a long time, my shoulders, I can really feel it after I do a deshed on a dog, because my shoulders really feel it. So the less times I have to go over the dog like this, the better I am, and I don't have to take so many pills afterwards. But you can see we can make that lay down a little bit more on top of her head. Can everyone see what I'm doing, or do I need to try to bring that in closer? And are there any questions? Since I've got a couple of you guys on here. Any questions when it comes to deshedding or anything to that nature? So I'll keep going. If you have any questions, just pop it in. And like I said, you can see I pull out a whole lot more coat. It does best when you can hold it taut. And like I said, the teeth are only going in to pick up that coat, but then I'm rolling it so that it's more the rubber bands that are going over it. And just like any other deshed tool, you do have to keep this clean. But you can get the really, really fine hairs that you normally can't get with any other tool. I find the rubber band works really, really well. So that's that was my cool little trick. It's a cheap trick. Even if you had absolutely none of these tools, a rubber band is really all you need, and that makes it a whole lot better and worth doing some of these dogs and trying to rehabilitate that coat. Because I talk everybody who has a double coated dog, unless it's matted and it's, God forbid, you cannot get it out, I talk everybody out of shaving them. Because it doesn't make them any cooler. It's all this really fine hair that creates the dog to be hot. It's nice and cool in the trailer, but I'll tell you, she's just well loved, so she's quite out of breath already, just because I've made her stand up for the drying process. But if some of you don't quite understand how undercoat works, you can get it all out, and in 30 days it will all be right back. It's a very rapid growing hair coat. So in the midst of, if you do shave one of these dogs down, why it's so bad is, unless you remove that undercoat before you shave it, that coat's going to grow back faster than the guard hairs. These guard hairs are designed to be in for at least a year or two, and then they fall out. So kind of like our own hair. You know how we comb our own hair and we shed hair? I mean, we people, we shed. So we always have hair coming out, but as much hair is coming out, you got new ones growing back in and replacing it, but it doesn't look noticeable. You're not going bald. Although if you are, I'm sorry, but it happens more when you get older. But you find, like I said, with these guys, you shave this off in the middle of that growing cycle. And some of these hairs, that's why you get the dogs that grow all these soft, the downy undercoat and like no guard hair, or they're really, really patchy in places because it was shaved in the middle of a growing cycle. Because these guard hairs only grow to a certain extent, and then they're meant to stay there for at least a year or two before they are replaced. The undercoat, the soft cottony undercoat, that's replaced rapidly, like every, I really can't say, but I can deshed a dog completely and have it grow back and still have as much hair as I did the last time in 30 days. So there's benefits to keeping them on a regular program, because they do constantly grow back that deshed. These people that think that bringing the dog in once a year is good enough, you know, you got to teach them to come in more often. Now I do need to go. I've got clients coming in, but I will get back to everybody. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comment section. And, well, happy grooming.